The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to It Fridays here at Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager, Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, and you. One ear or eye on Husker Baseball, one ear or eye on your friends here at Hail Varsity. Numbers to get in, 489-1240, 489-1240. I would have, Elijah, the game on in the background if I could get my stupid ESPN Plus to work upstairs. Somehow with my Roku downstairs, it's worked well. Elijah popped over for a little bit. Our dear friend Joba Chamberlain came over. We piled on some Hawaiian pizza from Lazari's. It was glorious. Junior was trying to hit me up as he's working for my password. And I'm like, dude, good luck. I'm just happy. Just happy the password was saved in the downstairs TV. But we'll white knuckle this thing together as top of the seventh right now. Florida batting, Huskers trailing 3-2, and Drew Christo is dealing right now. 2 outs here in the seventh. He has come in. Not a bad outing or performance at all by Sears, Elijah, but he worked out of some trouble, competed hard, was able to go 5 innings, and with those 5 innings, struck out 4, but did allow 10 hits, scattered 10 hits. I mean, every inning, Florida had a runner on. A lot of times, Florida had runners in scoring position with less than 2 out. And Florida right now is you know what? They're in a dogfight with Nebraska, 3-2. It has been the Gabe Swanson show as he launched one to off the facade of the left field brick behind the bullpen to draw Nebraska a bit closer. But well-pitched ball game on both ends. Florida's freshman looks dynamite as Christo gives the old yacker to the Florida batter to get out of the inning. So Nebraska headed to the bottom of the seventh, just down 1 run, 3-2. How you feeling? I love this time of year. I love Nebraska's energy. Checked in with our dear friend, the Butenbachs down in Oklahoma City. It's a sea of red down there, and it's all good. Nebraska chance to make this thing interesting here with 9 outs to go.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily the best performance from your guy, Brett Sears. He didn't have his best stuff, but it's a testament to him and what he's put together all year long. The fact that even when he didn't have his best stuff, especially that breaking ball, he kept on leaving it up and really just at the belt, not the place you want to leave that. But despite the fact that I don't think he had his best stuff, he went out there and competed. That's what an ace is supposed to do for you. Hey, he doesn't have his best stuff, but he's going to leave you in a position where you can go out there and still get the job done in the later innings. That's a testament to him. I don't think it's the performance that he wanted, but it's a performance that you'll take. Being down 3-1 whenever he leaves the game, Swanson gets you on a right back, and you're down by 1, headed to the bottom of the 7th inning. You're in a good position to go out and win this baseball game still, just down by 1. Christo seems to be settling in just a little bit. Again, the bats have to get going. The bats have been, I don't want to say the issue today, but just 5 hits and a lot of chased pitches on that starter for Florida, who is pretty good, playing his best baseball right now. You'll take where you're at right now. If you'd told me before the game Nebraska would be going bottom 7 down by 1, I'd say you take it. With how this team competed at the end of last week in the Big Ten tournament, with that resiliency that they've shown, it's not a bad place to be in. You just got to go out there and as a lineup, compete, get a couple hits, get a run or 2 across the board, and close this thing out. I mean, a lot between now and then to get a win, but you're still in a good position to do so. We'll see how this game goes as we, I guess, follow along over the next probably hour or so before this game goes final.
Arkansas in a dogfight. They were up 8-0. They are now tied 8 apiece with a 4 seed. And right now, I'll say this. We spent a lot of the week talking about that Florida offense, those Florida bats. And they're as good as advertised. I don't know that you have a situation where Sears was off per se. They just beat the hell out of the ball. I mean, there's a lot of doubles. I think 5 doubles for Florida, and of course the home run on an 0-2. Sears had trouble with his slider today, and you've seen this happen with Nebraska's staff from time to time this season when they're up 0-2 or 1-2. I think there's been too many 2-strike hits against Nebraska. They'd tell you that. Coach Childress would tell you that.
But I think that's a little bit just the Childress way as well, where you still go out there and attack, and
sure,
it
was just too good.
Exactly.
or the batter did too much with it, and Florida has scored on 2-strike hits.
I mean, it's incredible. Everyone but one guy in Florida's lineup right now has a hit. So the fact that they only have 3 runs across the board, I think, is a bit of a testament to Sears and what he's been all year long. I don't think it's his best stuff. The slider is the example of that. It wasn't necessarily there all day for him, but he was able to work with his fastball, work with his changeup, and able to scatter hits the best he can, despite the fact that the Florida batters were at times a little bit all over him. 3 runs is a fine place to be. You were always going to need more than 2 runs to go win this baseball game today. I don't think anyone expected this Florida team to be held to 1 or no runs today. You came in expecting that. It comes down to the bats now to go put some things together.
Nebraska, their defense has been exquisite today. Some plays made on just bomb shots to the wall. And Silva's made a couple of nice grabs.
Carry it short as well.
Yeah. And of course, Overbeek at third has been big time. You had the bunt attempt by Silva there. Looked like he may have beat that out. Not sure. And then the play to end the bottom of the 6th where Overbeek's trying to swipe second. I thought he got in there. Nebraska didn't challenge. Quick 2 outs for Nebraska here in the bottom of the 7th. So we'll keep an eye on Nebraska baseball. We'll dive into that age-old debate, the SEC versus the Big Ten, when it comes to strength of schedule. Some positioning already by the SEC commissioner when it comes to football and the playoff. Jacob Padilla with us in about 10 minutes from Hail Varsity and Hurrdat Sports. Also in hour 2, the Pride of Fairbury, NBC Sports' Bill Doleman joins us from Florida. Right now, Doleman is probably having a sip of Jobu's rum to counteract that Florida lead right now. Bill's probably got some red face paint on. Maybe he's shirtless. I don't know. But I know he's pulling for his beloved Huskers. And then Joba Chamberlain get his reaction to Nebraska, Florida. Joba's our Big Red correspondent. We want to shout out the Triple Play podcast. Did a pregame show, sort of, kind of, with the Triple Play pod live on social media, live on Twitter and Facebook, as we got you into this round 1 of the regional in Stillwater. Numbers to get in at 489-1240. So the Hail Varsity YouTube channel, we're live, can watch us and stream us there. We're on in most of our markets, some of our markets along the Hail Varsity Radio Network, carrying Nebraska baseball as an affiliate. Can also watch the show, the Hail Varsity Twitter handle, Hail Varsity Radio Twitter at HVarsity Radio. So our starting 5, our shout outs, the coach checking in, Brandon Smith. Brandon, good to have you. The other Dave is in. NU Grandpa says, yikes. The other Dave is complimenting Brandon on being number 1. Part of the Boulder Peace Treaty is Jeff Snitley. Mr. Snitley is in. Dom is in. Dom wants us to bring back Kaz. I'd love to talk to Kaz again. Also checking in on the show right now is Matthew. says, Friday, finally. Justin is here. Joel is here. Says he hung out with some of your family.
Yeah, Eric. Eric is the best. I went to Whiskey Fest with Eric last fall. And
how was that?
Awesome.
You're just like,
have you not heard the Whiskey Fest story? It's just like 100 vendors of whiskey, and they give you a little.
No, I know you made your tour,
and it's just
like
unlimited.
Taking Junior to Costco.
You just walk anywhere up to any of the vendors that you want, and hey, pour me some whiskey, pour me some whiskey, pour me some whiskey, as much as you want. It's the best. I need to get back to Whiskey Fest with Eric. Eric apparently says that my 9 beer, 9 hot dog challenge does not count unless I drink Guinness and eat foot-long dogs.
Dude.
Yeah. Vetoing that one right off the bat. No.
That is hardcore. That sounds like something you got to do to be a Navy SEAL.
The thing is like, I think that'd be hard with 1 foot-long hot dog and 1 Guinness. That would fill you up real quick.
Yeah, Nebraska just needs a swing of the bat here, fellas.
As we go to the top of the 8th now.
Yeah, Matthew is questioning our Hawaiian pizza. Let me just say this. The Lazari's Hawaiian pizza is undefeated. It's incredible. And it has the pineapple that some of you are not in favor of. Joba, I was like, what? We're doing Hawaiian? He's like, we're happy that we're doing Lazari's, but we're doing Hawaiian. I'm like, just go with it. He did have maybe a bite of pineapple, but it's got the Canadian bacon.
Yeah.
It's got the pineapple.
Yeah.
It has the cream cheese. It has the glorious sauce / crust from Lazari's. And it has jalapeno. It's the honey cut Hawaiian.
That's a must, to be fair, on a Hawaiian pizza is the jalapenos. It's what gives it the balance.
Yes.
If you don't have the jalapenos, the pineapple is too sweet. It's the spiciness of the jalapenos combined with that sweetness of the pineapple that makes it such a good combination.
Yeah, the heat and the sweet. I halfway about audibled and went with a black olive on it too.
I'm glad you didn't.
Because I was going to say there might have been a fight in the basement. Joel is in. Good to have you, Joel. Cliff from Florida says, I'm on the way from Gainesville. Cliff, good to have you, dude. Thanks for checking in. 489-1240. So Jacob will give us some thoughts on hoops. I'm interested to get his take on Coach Cook's extension in the volleyball world. And from a football standpoint, Jacob's been covering the Big Red on the gridiron for quite a while, so we'll get his take. And your grandpa wants me to turn my camera on the computer towards the Nebraska broadcast. I think that's beyond OJ piracy. It's one thing to rip. It's one thing to rip cable. It's another to somehow have part of that ESPN Plus that I pay for every month working in the basement. But again, there's no emergency number to call for upstairs.
No, all you have to do is you have to get one of Junior's controllers and you sit there like you're playing a video game despite the fact that it's the broadcast. That's how you do it right there. You're not pirating your broadcast. You're live streaming your video game, Schmitty.
Don't you have some sort of double secret website, Elijah?
No.
No? You're not going to... You are not going to incriminate yourself on a Friday this early into the show.
I don't have a double secret illegal website. I have multiple.
Fair enough here. But we'll see where Nebraska's at here after this first session. I believe the losers bracket game tomorrow, either Oklahoma State or Niagara, is at 2 o'clock. Winners bracket at 6 p.m. There's apparently a busted metal bat in this ball game. I'm on my phone watching the broadcast versus and you grandpa's right. Elijah did take the 5th right there. Not a 5th of whiskey, but a 5th of the 5th on the stand. So you know what's going to be awesome? We have Bill Doleman. We have Joba Chamberlain. We have Jacob Padilla. We have our second, I can't say annual, but the second rendition of the Hail Varsity Radio Spelling Bee coming up at 5:40 with the infamous, the imaginary, the man that wears red, Clausborne. Clausborne versus Elijah for the Hale Varsity Spelling Bee. The reigning champion is Brandon Vogel. How long ago was that Vogel vanquished Clausborne in the Spelling Bee? Was that 2018?
I think it was 2017. I think we're coming up on a decade here. 7 years is not a decade, but it's close.
So we've given Vogues a chance to defend his title, and he is just going to retire as the champ like he's a boxer, undefeated. It's not that Vogues couldn't go for it and be good, but Elijah's like, yeah, I'm stepping forward to compete for the second Spelling Bee championship, the second Hale Varsity Radio Spelling Bee champion. And you got some street cred, don't you?
I was a 5th grade Spelling Bee champion at Maxey Elementary School. Among the 5th graders, that's not entire school, but among the 5th graders, I was a Spelling Bee champion. It's what I do well. I'm looking forward to getting out there and competing, much like Brett Sears. I'm not sure if I have my best stuff with me today. It's been a while since I've competed in a Spelling Bee, but that being said, I'm just looking forward to competing, looking forward to putting my best foot forward, and hopefully lifting the trophy at the end of the day. You did get a trophy, correct?
Well, we got to decide what the winner gets. We'll get you to Jacob Padilla with Hale Varsity and Hurrdat Sports. Huskers need to get a double play ball here, and maybe they just foul ball. More to come on a Friday. It's Hale Varsity powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now, back to Hale Varsity Radio.
Back with you. It's Friday edition. It's Hale Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager, Schmidt and Elijah Herbel. As we'll check in with Jacob Padilla here from Hale Varsity and Hurrdat Sports at Jacob Padilla _. Numbers to get in at 489-1240. As Florida, a one-out RBI single. Runner scores from second for the Gators. They get the run back. It is 4-2 here in the top of the 8th with 2 on and 1 down. As Coach Childress right now is out, and a eye-to-eye, face-to-face chat with Mr. Cristo.
And I believe another intentional walk to Castiglione as well.
Yeah, that'll be the third intentional walk of the day.
Smart.
They did get him out, which is more than a lot of folks can say. He might be on the hill tomorrow for the Gators, but he is probably going to go 3rd or 4th overall in the upcoming baseball draft. Let's say hi to Jacob Padilla and talk some volleyball, some Big Red football, and some Husker hoops along with the high school scene. Jacob, thanks for a few minutes. How are we doing today?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to ask your expertise on this UCLA transfer that Nebraska is waiting on. Burke, yes, I got for the first name. Help me with the last.
There was a point when I figured out how to say it, and then he waited so long that it already exited my brain before I got a chance to say it. So it's Berke, Boyton-Jill, something like that.
Boynton Cell. We'll go that route.
There's a K in there, though. There's a K in there.
Let's go Berke.
Berke. Okay, yeah, we'll go with Berke. So, what's your take on this? Nebraska's been. You felt like you might hear something last weekend, or last 7 to 10 days. You haven't. What is your feel here, and what is the holdup here if you're Nebraska?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the holdup is. Like, it's probably not great that he hasn't announced if that was the way that it was going to go. He probably would have. I think kind of the worry right now is maybe BYU. Jackson Robinson just pulled out of the draft and went to Kentucky, and I know BYU's been pushing hard on the transfer portal, and they were another one that he was taking a look at. So. I don't know. Maybe there's something going on there with them making another strong push. And haven't heard a whole lot other than that, like about new teams entering. Haven't seen anything like that quite yet. So it may be just something going on there with BYU trying to figure things out. I think, yeah, if you, right now you probably would have wanted it to have been resolved at this point. Like if you're Nebraska, you probably would have felt a lot better about your chances had he announced already. But we'll have to see here. I haven't heard a whole lot in the last few days at all about him.
Jacob, whenever you look at Burke, want or need for this Husker basketball team for next year, and that's not the best way of phrasing it, but I think you know what I'm getting at here in terms of, is this a guy that Nebraska needs to have, or is this a guy that would just be a nice piece of the rotation? What side of that coin are you on in terms of his prospects of coming to Nebraska?
Probably both. Like they need like another guy in the front court. Like they just don't have a whole lot of options right now because of mass injury. You don't really have a natural four type. Like you got Juwan Gary as kind of a 3-4 tweener there that can play either spot, and then you got your big guys inside, and Andrew Morgan and the 7-footer, and then there's not a whole lot else there. Like you're not looking at any of those guys and feeling great about like them holding up at the 4 spot and giving you what you need in terms of the size and skill level. So they do need someone at that spot specifically. And a guy with his talent would certainly go a long way towards raising their ceiling. Like he's far from a proven prospect at this point. I think the first year was kind of a little underwhelming based on kind of the thought of him coming in to UCLA. But I think there's still a lot of talent there that a good coach is going to be able to unlock here. And with a year under his belt, maybe he's ready to kind of take that step. So it's a guy that you need somebody at that spot. I think you want someone like him to answer your question there. So a little bit of both.
Jacob, how do you feel here with Trayvon Brazil, really talented kid that's played well at Arkansas, took his name out of the NBA draft. So he is portal bound. Nebraska's reached out. I know there's some other suitors for him that Nebraska's got to compete against. But does Nebraska have a pretty good shot? I know Coach Cal has relocated to the land of pig suey.
Yeah, I've been in the gym all day. I hadn't seen that Nebraska had reached out to him or heard that just yet. I totally missed that he had pulled out the draft until I saw the list yesterday. I just assumed that he was gone. But yeah, he's another guy that kind of fits that mold of size and skill that you need to fill that front court hole. And like if you can get him, it would be massive for Nebraska. But any of those top guys that would draw from the draft at the last moment, like the market's pretty dry, and the price is going to be very high for all those guys. Obviously, we know Coleman Hawkins is already kind of put his name out there in terms of narrowing his choices and letting everybody know, hey, this is what I want and this is what I definitely don't want. He's one of the biggest names out there, and he'll have some nice offers there, and I think Brazil would probably be up there as well in terms of what he's accomplished and the skill set that he brings. So I don't know who else are in the mix there, who Nebraska is competing with specifically, but like that would, I'll just say that if they can get him, that would be a massive coup for the staff at this stage in the offseason.
Right now at St. John's and Georgetown, that are two name brands that Nebraska's going against. What's your reaction to Hunter Salas going back to Wake and pulling his name out of the draft?
A little bit surprised, but I think that the biggest surprise for me at this point just is the kind of the war chest that that Wake Forest has to operate with. I think Steve Forbes, he made a great choice when he accepted that job, and they made a great hire with him as well. It was a really good fit. Not often you see like fan Twitter accounts shouting out individual donor or boosters when you're making an announcement about a guy withdrawn from the draft. So that kind of tells you what's going on right there. They significant offer and enough to push off the draft for another year when he had a very strong chance of being kind of a late first round guy, I think. So it's a huge win for Wake Forest, and I think Hunter a chance to kind of just build off of what he did this year at Wake Forest, continue to show that the three ball is for real, and continue to expand his game in a place where he's comfortable and in a system that he knows fits him.
It's Jacob Padilla with us here on Hail Varsity Radio, talking some guys into the transfer portal after withdrawing their name from the NBA draft. And Jacob, another guy that was in the news yesterday, slight Nebraska connection with his history at Creighton. What's your feel on Arthur Kaluma? What do you think is next in his college basketball career?
I have no clue with that guy. Again, I think that's another case of just playing the market, like one of the last guys available in the post-draft withdrawal date market there. We'll see. He's had a good year at Kansas State, but didn't necessarily blow up, I think, probably the way that he wanted, evidenced by the fact that he is not in the draft anymore, and he is coming back from another year of college and probably hoping to kind of leverage, again, what he has now with the limited number of players of his caliber available compared to the programs that still have spots available that maybe missed out on some of their other targets. So that's kind of the way the offseason works, is you've got kind of waves of guys. It's kind of the same thing in free agency where you race to offer the biggest contracts and guys first, and then start getting through, and then you get down towards the end, and some of those guys that are still left, maybe you get their value bumped up a little bit more because of there just aren't many options left, and teams may have missed out on their first couple options. So I'm sure it seems like at this point he's a guy that's very willing to play the market and figure out, all right, what makes sense for him.
Jacob, let's spend a minute on Husker volleyball. John Cook set to make some more money starting tomorrow, as he's been extended through 2029. Are you surprised at the length of the extension, or do you think Coach Cook is just geared up for another title or two before he heads off to Big Sky Country? What's your reaction to him saying, yeah, let's keep on rocking?
Yeah, not terribly surprised. It just being around him in the program, it seems like the last handful of years have kind of rejuvenated him, kind of revitalized, and he still has that passion, that energy he said how much he's enjoyed the hands-on coaching and practice the last couple of years. Obviously, they had a young team, and now that young team is going to be pretty veteran laden here over the next year with no seniors last year. So I'm not surprised at all, like that he's going to go strong. Kind of the one thing that you have kind of going around the back of his head is, at what point does he just decide, you know what, I'm happy with what I've accomplished, and now I'm going to go spend all my time on my ranch with my horses. But Nebraska found a way to incorporate the horse into his contract extension. So they know the guy they're dealing with, and they were able to work out something that makes sense for both sides there, with that retention bonus there to be used towards a new horse. So I think he's still got the energy to keep going. Obviously, Nebraska's still at the top of its game, and I mean, as long as he wants to keep doing it, the Huskers are more than happy to let him keep running the show.
Jacob, if you had a retention bonus of that size, we've got about 30 seconds left here, what would you be spending that retention bonus on? Would it be a horse?
It would not be a horse. I have no idea. I've never had that much money, so I don't even know like what $70,000 buys me. So I'd have to do some research on that to figure it out.
2 pairs of the Back to the Future no-lace Nikes. Sure,
I like Nikes. I don't know what those look like, but...
Oh, dude, Google the Back to the Future Nikes. I bring that up because that's what Travis Kelce spent half of his signing bonus on. Jacob, have yourself a weekend. I always appreciate your time. Thanks for jumping on with us, bud.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Hail Varsity Radio is live. Now, back to Schmitty.
Schmitty's a great guy, but he don't have a brain.
And Elijah.
You want me to speak? When I point at you, yeah.
On Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager. You have A swing and line shot just moments ago by Tyler Stone to center field. It hung up in the air long enough for Nebraska to get a run home, a sac fly. And it's now 4-3. Florida tacked on an insurance run in the top half of the eighth. Nebraska bases full. Swanson walking, taking a tough pitch, but taking a ball on a 3-2 count to load the bases. So
welcome to the alternate broadcast here.
Well, we're not doing play-by-play, so I'm not going to get our license yanked.
Don't sue us. I'm kidding.
No, I mean, we're not doing anything illegal here, and we're waiting plenty of time to tell you about what's going on. But Dylan Carey is up, and a chance for Nebraska, as good a chance as they're going to have to take the lead here. Bases still full, but 2 out for the Big Red.
It's do or die time, it feels like, here. Whenever you get the bases loaded with 1 out, down by 2, you don't know when you're going to get an opportunity or if you're going to get an opportunity. The middle of their order did their job, and you got to take advantage.
DC,
Huskers doesn't.
Yep. DC strikes out on 3 pitches. Tough pitch by the Florida Gator on the hill, and just a tough one for Dylan Carey there with ducks on the pond. But good ball game, man. Great ball game. Nebraska's headed to the 9th down, 4-3. See if they can hold. 489-1240, 489-1240. Numbers to get in. Bill Doleman coming up here at 5:05. We'll get Husker baseball reaction from Joba Chamberlain, your last Husker to win in Omaha in the College World Series. But, you know, Elijah, Nebraska fans are pretty realistic. Nebraska fans are also able to think and dream big, right? And when you look at this regional, the way it was set up, when the announcement came down on Monday, it wasn't Tucson, it wasn't Norman. A rematch would have been fine, but it wasn't Arkansas, it wasn't A&M. You have a chance to get out alive. And some folks were scoffing at Florida getting in. But, dude, they're good. They are 7-8 against that top 8 seed. They're 4 games below 500 in the SEC. But they're a damn good baseball team. They got pitching with a guy who looks like a future first rounder and Liam Peterson. Their bats are disgusting. I mean, they are for real. And that was Nebraska's best, and they batted him around. 13 hits today for the Florida offense, 7 for Nebraska. But, man, you wanted that. You had to have that back. That at bat go your way. If you're Nebraska, you still have 3 outs to work with. But rough one there for Nebraska. You can pick any batter, past or current. Who are you going with in that situation? Not Nebraska, but overall when it comes to baseball. I'm going to have to go Tony Gwynn with my top draft pick there, with runners in scoring position and pressure situation. It's on the line. Give me Tony Gwynn.
Dare I say Barry Bonds?
That's okay.
I might say Barry Bonds. Pre-juice or post-juice. Take your pick.
Even with Barry's numbers in the postseason, guy was god-awful in the postseason for Pittsburgh, had a great World Series in 2002 against Hurrdat and the Angels, but they didn't win it.
I mean, if we're talking Pirate season here, I guess the pressure is one thing that needs to be accounted for here. Oh, Ken Griffey Jr. is a great pull by Moonbot.
Yeah, Moonbot's just ended the conversation. And no, Ken Griffey Jr. was incredible. Pete Rose.
Jeter.
Yeah, Jeter was good. Although there was a online Twitter thread going about the most overrated player in baseball.
A lot of people think it's Jeter.
Yeah, it is. That's their name. I don't think he's overrated.
How about Reggie Jackson?
Reggie was gold, and he was gold in October against the Dodgers. 3 home runs. Reggie's we're not going on personality. But no, Reggie was pretty good. Willie Mays was solid. Tiger Shark Diver says, give me Alex Gordon. Royals fans will forever remember that game-tying home run. Was that game 1 or game 2 in 2015?
Game 1.
Was it game 1?
Well, you also have the one, was it the year before, where they should have sent him from third on the potential inside the park home run?
Yeah. Yep. No, I think we got a good short list going here. Pete Rose, Tony Gwynn.
KG says, I didn't hear the question, but I'm going LeBron James.
AG, what you have 2 outs, runners in scoring position. You need a tying RBI or go-ahead RBI. What past or current major leaguer are you going with in the batter's box? It's not quite you have 2 minutes, 3 timeouts. What quarterback do you want for a 2-minute drill? I'm asking, who are you going with runners in scoring position? Matthew says Jeter gets a downgrade for that horrible commercial still on the radio. I guess I forget, and I think they just launched one to left field. Yep, solo shot off of Cristo, and away it goes for Wilson. This guy, my dear Lord, Ashton Wilson for Florida, Mr. Skateboard Elbow Protector, is 4 for 4 today with 3 doubles and a bomb.
4 for 5, I believe.
4 for 5. How'd they get him out?
Grounded out to second in the 7th.
Somehow. So, sorry, 4 for 5. Ashton Wilson came in with 6 hits all season. This is the equivalent to Nebraska knocking out the starting quarterback, and the backup comes in and almost beats you or does beat you. Dear God. But he killed that to left field. So 5-2 right now. Florida with a little insurance here. 1 down here, top of the 9th. So it's white knuckle time for the Big Red here. They need 2 more outs in the top of the 9th to get out of this thing. But Ashton Wilson may be a draft pick here in the chat. Can always chat with us in the stream, the Hail Varsity YouTube channel, or check us out on Twitter. The Hail Varsity Radio Twitter feed is both ways to catch the show. Can podcast us, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. Is Bill Doleman coming up here in about 15 minutes. Joba Chamberlain with his reaction to this first game of the Stillwater Regional. Joba, I think, out at Sherman catching a little Legion baseball. So we'll hear from Joba here in hour 2. And yes, it is the second rendition of the Hail Varsity Radio Spelling Bee. Clausborne in the Spelling Bee versus one Elijah Herbel. You don't want to miss that at 5:40. Hail Varsity powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, it's Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager. So NCZ says, I'm not much of a baseball fan. I just want another mention so my kids think I'm famous. I'll do that. One better. We'll even put the request there on the screen for you, NCZ. And away we go.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe his profile picture, it's small, but is that from the broadcast booth at Arrowhead?
It's from a suite, it looks like.
It might be the broadcast booth. I have spent some time in the broadcast booth at Arrowhead, and that's pretty similar to what the view looks like.
Are we name dropping? How the hell did you get in the broadcast booth at Arrowhead?
Should I name drop?
Yes.
I know Tony Romo.
Seriously.
No, I'm kidding. No, I have a friend. I had a friend.
Great poll for getting him on the show.
No, I have a friend who worked in the video production department for the Chiefs. He did their big screen stuff for a year, and after the Chiefs lost to the Bengals in the AFC title game that following weekend, he gave us an all-access tour. So that was pretty cool. Got to see some behind-the-scenes stuff. I have a picture of me at the post-game press podium at Arrowhead. I got to go up and say it's third down on the PA announcing system. What else here? Got to see the locker rooms, and also got to see the broadcast booth. It was funny. The Bengals locker room still smelled like cigar smoke a week later. You ain't getting that smell out. Got to walk down the tunnel. I got to see everything there. Even got to see inside the Mahomes suite. So yeah, that was a pretty cool experience.
Was Jackson still duct taped in the corner?
No. Big sign inside that said no TikToks though. That's a lie.
Ever.
I made that up.
Yeah. Tiger Shark Diver said Elijah has gone Hollywood on us. You go Hollywood all you want, Elijah. So it's down to this for the Big Red. 3 outs, 3 runs. What happens first for Nebraska? They don't want to go down 0-1 in this Stillwater regional, but a well-played ball game. Bill Doleman's on the way here this second hour. Get his reaction. Doleman is in Florida. Joba Chamberlain, Husker Hall of Famer, is going to be in hour 2. And then, yes, the spelling bee. I have put an incredible list together for you to compete against Clausborne with.
What are the words?
I cannot give you those. That would be unfair to Claus. And Claus may put some sort of curse on us.
NCC says this is from Memorial. Is it? No.
Yeah, it kind of looks like
Memorial
it.
Stadium doesn't have red seats, does it?
It might. What's going on behind you?
I don't know.
We have some sort of breaking news or not. What is happening?
Well, it's just here. It's a long story. We need to get to break here, don't we?
Yeah. Say hi to Sparky.
Yeah, Sparky's in here.
What's up? All right. What's up, dude?
we had an issue with his script for a read that we're getting solved.
Hollywood Elijah is being courted.
Hey, before this spelling bee, I'm getting practice in on a log or on a
I know.
Read, so.
Stokes gets a base hit. The drama ensues in Stillwater. Bill Doleman with the live chicken and rum to get Nebraska over the hump here in this 9th in hour 2.
He's the pride of Fairbury, an average Joe. Bill Doleman, the professor.
I had a 6 ACT in 1967. One time I got an A and my grandma beat me for cheating.
Now with Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, it's hour 2 at Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. Don't forget the weekend edition tomorrow. That happens around 7:45 Central. That'd be 8:45 Bill Doleman time. As the pride of Fairbury, the professor with us down there in Florida. He did everything, folks, in his power to jinx the Gators. He's in Florida. And right now, Nebraska falls. The double play ball stands. They could not overturn it. Nebraska down 5-2. Billy D, I know you're on a little vacation time. How, first and foremost, before we get into baseball, how's the beach?
Well, I wanted to correct you. And for those of you who are watching on the stream, I think if you just take a look behind me, you can tell I'm Megan Fairbury. Right?
I always forget they have palm trees down there in Fairbury.
That's Crystal Springs, if I ever saw it.
No, it's crystal meth. Telling me that's Fairbury. I want some of what you're on.
I can tell you right now that nobody's talking about the Florida-Nebraska game down here. I will guarantee you that. And I might have been.
What kind of beach are you at?
Well, one where nobody has a care in the world. I'll tell you that right now.
Good cover.
Yeah, if I were to tell them that Florida beat Nebraska today, I don't think too many people would really care all that much.
It is a good warning here against methamphetamine that Bill has maybe smoked some meth and ended up in Florida when he was trying to go to Fairbury. He just never fell asleep on the road.
Just say no to drugs, kids, please.
I'm down here in Florida, and
that's where you meant to go.
My time here. What's that?
That's where you meant to go.
I did mean to go.
Okay.
I actually did mean to go.
Okay.
I'm in this. What is we got? 1, 2, 5 different condo units, so I'm probably waking the neighbors right about now, as you saw just a moment ago. But
Bill,
yeah,
a lot
beautiful,
going on.
sunshiny Florida.
It is. Let's talk about your reaction to Nebraska falling today 5-2. I know you've been following along with the game. Nebraska had a shot. They had Swanson up. He walked. And you had the sack fly for Tyler Stone. And Nebraska just couldn't get it done with 2 on, chance to take the lead and 2 out. Nebraska wasn't bad today by any means. Florida, I think, was just better than advertised. Their strength of schedule showed up today with their power, their pitching, and they took Nebraska's best on the hill and really kind of batted him around. Now, to Sear's credit, he hung in and, kept him in it. Nebraska's bullpen wasn't awful, but you just needed a couple more stops than you ended up getting if you're Nebraska on the hill. You needed a couple more hits. If you're Nebraska's offense, the bats, quite frankly, can't go that cold if you're taking on a team that has an ERA above 6 and you're held to 2 runs.
They just didn't string together many hits at all. What were there? I think there were 3 offers in Nebraska's lineup today, and Overbeck at the top. I think that's pretty problematic. There was the unfortunate. What was it in the 7th or the 8th? The bases are loaded. You get a ball crushed quickly, and didn't have time enough to get the eye back to tag up. Even 1 run at that moment might change things a little bit, but it was just a fly ball out, and everybody remains, and nobody scores. So. Some missed opportunities, but nothing was stringing together, 2, 3, 4 hits at a time where they generated much. And, did Sears have his worst outing of the season? Well, obviously it's his first loss of the year. So that kind of sucks. But, throughout the game, it seemed like it was Nebraska was getting overpowered, and then it was still 3-1. And then it was 3-1, and then it was 3-2. So to see the final score be 5-2 when it seemed like it was much greater than that, look, they've got a chance to bounce back tomorrow at 1:00. What is it? Niagara and Oklahoma State play later today. Mm-hmm. So there's a chance for a bounce back performance, and they just proved last week that you can come back from a tough loss and do reasonably well if you can string things together. But I think they're really disappointed that they had and he didn't get it done. What did he give up like 10 hits in the game? And when you got somebody like Mookie Wilson in the lineup like Florida does, you're just not gonna beat a team like that with a bat as hot as that guy is. But 6 hits in the whole season on his 5 starts.
Yeah, Wilson went 4 for 5. Everybody in the Florida lineup had at least a hit. You had 3 guys with multi-hits, but and
he had 4.
Yeah, he had 4 for 5, 6 hits all year, and he goes 4 for 5 with 3 RBI and that home run.
10 total bases.
Yeah,
Mookie Wilson would dream for a day like that.
He alone had 10 total bases. The Husker team as a whole had 12 total bases on the day today.
Yeah. That's nothing strung together. No, there was just no momentum in the game for Nebraska.
And the moment they'll be kicking themselves over is bases loaded, 1 out in the 8th. That was your chance. You had Neely on the ropes just a little bit. That's the one they're going to be kicking themselves over. At the end of the day, you can look at the pitching. Sears, he didn't have his best stuff. Christo came in. He gave up a couple of runs. But at the end of 5 runs should have been expected from the Florida team. When Florida's offense shows up, they score 5 runs for the most part this season, unless they're going up against a future MLB guy. So you got to look at the bats. The starter for Florida, his name is now escaping me. He did a great job keeping the Husker hitters off balance all day long.
Peterson.
Yeah, they looked uncomfortable in the box against him. Neely came in and pumped 3 across to get himself out of a jam when he first comes in and gets out of a bases loaded jam. I think you have to tip your cap to the Florida pitching today. That hasn't been their strong suit, but kept the Husker bats off balance, and now Huskers are staring down the barrel of a gun, but they've been here. They've been here within the past week. So that's it's not unfamiliar territory for Nebraska, understanding backs against the wall. You can't lose any more this year.
But here's the problem with that, though. When they did it last week, it was at home in Omaha. They got a little bit of momentum, and that all that momentum peaked in a 2-1. It wasn't as though they dominated Penn State. They had to come from behind to do it. There's just such a momentum going from after that loss to Ohio State, and then you have 10,000 Nebraska fans at the ballpark last weekend, culminating with the championship. Unfortunately, you're going to have a letdown, even though there's a couple of days to prepare, and now you've got to come back through and do it at Oklahoma State. That's not going to be easy for Nebraska to advance out of there now.
Totally agree. Brandon checks in. The Florida hitters jammed our pitching all day, elbow over the plate about every pitch. Thought the umpire was phenomenal. I mean, I know he had a tight zone, but he had a good zone.
Consistency is all you ask for.
He was great. And I don't say, me, man, I don't say a lot about that unless it's going the other way, but he was fantastic. So Husker Baseball looking to try and bounce back. McConaughey will get the ball, and we'll see if Nebraska's offense can kickstart. We'll see who the opponent is. Bill, get your reaction? Some of the TV times have come out. Nebraska getting the primetime treatment this college football season, bud. And what do you think of the opportunity in front of Nebraska here to showcase? I mean, they're on Big Fox a lot. They're on night. They're one of the premier games this season multiple times, and we don't even know the USC and Ohio State kickoff times yet. And then you end the year at Iowa at 6:30 under the lights, which I love that setting and that opportunity. Nebraska needs to deliver, but they're getting the shot. Do you think it's fair to have that for them this soon, year two for the Rule era?
Well, first of all, Schmidt, it's kind of hard for me to hear you because the Florida sun is getting so much hotter right now. But anyway,
wow.
Look, this goes back to what I have said over and over and over, even during the worst, bouts of the flu for 4 years and the last, 15 years since. Nebraska matters, and nothing matters more in college football than television. That's why everything is happening, is because of TV dollars. So for Nebraska to be in prime time against prime in week 2 on NBC, that's a significant thing. To have them be on Big Fox as much as they are, they know Nebraska fans will be watching all over the country. Nebraska moves the dial. And look, the opponents are pretty good too. I mean, there's some pretty good named teams, but you have an opportunity to put Nebraska in a primetime slot, be it on Big Fox at noon, be it at 6 o'clock at night, and then culminating on Friday, on Black Friday, with an evening game under the lights in Iowa City. That just speaks to the interest that there is for Nebraska football, what Matt Rule has regenerated in his short time as Nebraska's coach. There's a lot of belief that Nebraska is going to be much better and is going to be a contender. I would imagine that the big noon kickoff show will be in Columbus when Nebraska goes on the road, because Nebraska will probably be at that point 5-2, 6-0, something along those lines. I'm not remember exactly the number of the game that is, but I would think that they're going to want to be in Columbus for that game. And so all it is a great opportunity for branding for Matt Rule, for Nebraska football, Nebraska athletics, and especially when they're on campus in week 2 against Colorado, because they'll showcase all the facilities. So it's just I think a testament to Nebraska fans, A, and B, what Matt Rule has done to generate as much interest in the program as he has. And look, it's pretty sexy having the freshman quarterback who is going to have a pretty good team around him. So there's a lot of reasons why Nebraska is in good TV positions throughout the course of the season.
Can national media interest have tangible effects to play on the field, Bill, either good or bad, in your opinion? Because that's how I feel like the schedule is setting up with Nebraska on national television in prime time. It's a chance for the eyes of the country to see Nebraska early in the season when they could be building some momentum. Do you think that national media interest, to get back to my original question, has any tangible effect on play on the field?
One of the reasons why I think it does is because it generates interest in the game at the location. So if they're going to play in Lincoln, there's going to be buzz anyway. But you and I and everybody knows that week 2 with Colorado, that game's going to be on steroids. They can test for it all they want. Nebraska's going to be way over the limit, right? It's going to be roided up big time. But if you go on the road and know that there's going to be a lot of national attention, the fans who are on the road are going to be, a little extra juiced for the game, as opposed to, again, the toughest places to play are those places where there is no interest. The Schnapp Stadium at Northwestern, Purdue, places like that where Illinois, people just don't have the same kind of interest level. And you got to try and generate your own momentum, your own desire, your own passion. And that's very, very difficult to do. And that's where you end up stubbing your toe. But if you're on the road and the national spotlight is, in Columbus or in Madison or someplace like that, yeah, the atmosphere in the stadium is going to be that much better. And so that's where I think you get your extra motivation.
Bill Doleman's with us at Hail Varsity Radio, Friday edition, at Bill Doleman on Twitter. Prada Fairbury is scouting out Florida for recruits or some sort of curse to put on the Gators moving forward should or if Nebraska sees them again in the Stillwater Regional. Nebraska's going to have to take care of business at 1 tomorrow to stay alive. We'll see if they get Niagara or Oklahoma State.
I have a feeling.
I know where you're going as well. Bill, we've got a couple of minutes left. Interested to get your take. It's been a while since we've done this. Brandon Vogel is the reigning spelling bee champ on Hail Varsity Radio. Did we decide this was 2017?
I haven't officially checked that, but we've run that segment a couple of times, and off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it's 2017.
So it's 2017. It was Vogel versus Clausborne, and Vogue's won pretty heavily. He's won.
No surprise,
right? And he's won, and he's retired as champion. We're having our second annual, I shouldn't say annual, but our second rendition of the Hail Varsity Spelling Bee in 20 minutes. Clausborne versus Elijah Herbel. Elijah was a 5th grade spelling bee champ, which is impressive. And who are you going with? Are you going with Claus or are you going with Elijah?
Oh boy, that's matching wits right there. I know Elijah's done a lot of training with the Indian kids over the years. And I'm not exactly sure Clausborne has studied out much outside of the Nebraska public education playbook as I, but so I'm probably going to go with Elijah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like your chances. I saw how you cheated, during your all-city football career at the left tackle position and how many knees you took out. So I assume that you did the same thing in the spelling bee.
Oh, and I cheated my way to college too. Don't worry.
King of the chop block. What Elijah Herbel at left tackle?
Hey.
Wasn't illegal. I'm
Cut.
Just saying the king of
Not a chop. Chop's illegal. Cut's fine.
Okay, sure. You and Gerald probably didn't end some careers with the oops. We had engagement going on, and then someone went low.
That sophomore year.
Here comes the ambulance.
Sophomore year against Kearney, but they might have flagged me for it. That was only one time thing. I learned from my mistakes.
What I think Elijah did, you know how you have the playbook on the wristband, right? Mm-hmm. I think Elijah had the playbook or the wristband, but it had the rule book. Like, where can I hit without getting, in too much trouble?
Bill, enjoy Florida, my friend. Thank you for the time today.
All right, boys. Go Big Red. See ya.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back to you. It's Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager, Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. And we got to shout out one of our own as he is graduated from Nebraska. He's on the call for the Lincoln Salt Dogs. And he has been named a second-team All-American. That is one Connor Clark. And Connor Clark, named a second-team All-American with the University of Nebraska College of Journalism, the hashtag Jim Nantz Award, and pretty cool by one of the leading talent agencies in our industry.
Who would have thought talent on Hail Varsity Radio? Huh, well, that's new.
Right? No, props to Connor Clark, man, because I know he was up for the Jim Nantz Award, and that's really, really cool. You have a number of kids that, like Connor, know how to put on a tie, but they sound as good as they present themselves when it came to their broadcast. Really? So pretty good for Connor.
And let me add to this really fast, Schmidt. Connor Clark, ConnorClark. Connor Clark. I almost screwed it up, but I didn't. Getting those reps in now. Don't act like you're not impressed.
No, that's fine. Joba with us on the horn.
Oh, I should probably send Joba a link.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, that's
489-1240 is the number to get in. Joba is at the ballpark, much like Connor Clark is. But Joba we caught up with Joba, watched a little bit of the ball game. We're going to get his instant reaction right now. One thing we discussed in the Hurrdat podcast, the Triple Play podcast, that's Joba's podcast with Elijah.
And you. Was
that SEC v Big Ten. And listen, not to overreact here with a 5-2 loss. You can take things a couple of different ways if you're a Nebraska baseball fan. One, you got to do better with runners in scoring position. Not that Nebraska was awful, but you took on a pitching staff that gives up a lot of runs. Now, most of those runs they gave up this year, right, was against SEC and teams that are hosting regionals, your top 8. You won 7 times against those top 8 teams. I know I've repeated that the last 38 days, but it showed up today. Florida's pitching wasn't as bad as their stats said. It was just that was what they were against insanely elite competition and their strength of schedule. We know in Nebraska coming into this, their pitching depth rounded into form. So too did Florida's pitching. I mean, they used 2 pitchers after Peterson got them to the 5th inning. So Nebraska's offense got to be better, right? Obvious. Secondly, with that being said, Nebraska's pitching wasn't elite, but allowing just 5 runs, Elijah, to this Florida team and stranding 11 runners. Nebraska pitched their butt off to get out of some trouble. I mean, even if you take half the runners left on base, this thing's 11-2, okay, instead of 5-2. Nebraska was in striking distance all game, and they had their shot in the 8th. Some base running missteps, that sac fly that Doleman touched on in the 7th, where Nebraska didn't tag up enough, quickly enough, was potentially a run. And the 8th, you had 1 out, bases juiced, and you couldn't take the lead there. Whole different feel and momentum. You didn't answer after Florida went yard.
And as I look at the rest of the weekend here, which is where my mind begins to turn, like, losses are going to happen in baseball. Today's disappointing because I do think the pitching staff did their job, and the pitching staff did enough to give you a position to win. You just could not get a feel for those Florida pitchers. And sometimes in the game of baseball, you have to tip your cap. Florida pitched what I would consider to be their best 2. They were their best 2 towards the end of the season. They were able to keep Castiglione ready to go for tomorrow, who is probably their second best starting arm. That's according to the Florida coach, whenever he had his little in the dugout thing. That freshman really came on strong at the end of the season. Sometimes you have to tip your cap. You wish the Husker bats got a little bit better. The question now is the response to me, especially with those Husker bats. They need to be better. You're not going to win potentially any games in this regional putting up only 2 runs with as offensive as a ballpark as O'Brate is. You were never going to beat Florida only putting up 2 runs. It's as simple as that. Their offense is way too dangerous to think you can win a baseball game winning or only putting up 2 runs. So how do the Husker bats respond moving forward? You have a chance, a get-right game against Niagara, I'd say, tomorrow. We'll see how that Niagara team performs tonight against Oklahoma State. I'm penciling them into the losers bracket, assuming they're going up against one of the two Oklahoma State aces. Those guys are hard to touch. And then look beyond that. If you're able to get past Niagara/Oklahoma State, but I'm, again, putting Niagara there, where do the rest of your arms go after that? I mean, they did a great job in the Big Ten tournament, pitching with their backs against their wall. Walsh, Christo, Brockett. Brockett's probably going to have a chance on Sunday if you can get past Niagara, but you have 4 straight games you have to go win. And you're staring down the barrel of a gun. Nebraska's been there before, which is a positive sign for you. Is that this is not the first time
they've been there before against Big Ten competition.
You've been there before against Big Ten competition. Hey, let's be clear. Indiana had a pretty impressive performance today against Southern Miss, but
they did.
What do you do with that response moment, knowing you've built your team on resiliency, you've been there before, but competition took a step up in the postseason? How does this baseball team respond? We'll find out tomorrow.
Well, Tuck says Connor didn't stick around long enough to rub off on us. Well played, Tuck. Joba Chamberlain with us, Husker Hall of Famer, 2-time World Series champ. Joba, we laid out a lot of things. Aside from Nebraska's 9-hole hitter, one thing that was curious was, how would Nebraska's bottom of the order perform? And it was tough, and it's going to be tough to, right? That's why you make the big bucks, is taking care of business with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Stokes was 2 for 4, but the key moment in the ball game was Carey there with 1 out, bases juiced, and Nebraska had a chance to take the lead. They didn't do it. Your takeaway here, what'd you think of Nebraska today falling 5-2?
It was different in the aspect of we kind of knew what was going to happen. And, I would have liked a little bit longer out of Sears, but, he battled. He gave us everything that we could. And, it's just those timely hitting. And we didn't come up with it. And you have a kid in Murphy that steps up, that has had 4 starts and has only had 6 hits all year, and then goes out and has 3 doubles and a homer. Some people just step up, and that's what happens. And
that's Florida's dude, right? Wilson's a guy who's got 6 hits all year, and he comes in and goes 4 for 5. That's Florida.
Yeah, and it's just, they have so many, and they can do so many things, and obviously it was the right move. You walk Jack because you don't want that guy to beat you,
right?
And he did. Obviously coming off 115 of his bat on that double against the wall, and you're like, all right, let's not try this again. And then obviously Swanee coming up big for us and doing those things. But yeah, it was a great game all around. There were great plays. Even the one when Elijah and I, when we were talking earlier about Overbeek and what he does,
that was awesome.
He stopped a run from scoring, then makes that great play. And I think it's a huge part of it. And let's just face it, they were the better team today.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
and that's it.
What did you see from those Florida pitchers today to keep the Husker batters off balance? Because that's where my mind goes, is if you hold Florida to 5 runs, usually you put yourself in a position to have a chance. Today, Florida's pitching was overmatching the Husker batters. What did you see from them?
It wasn't only velocity, but I think the changeup killed us today. And, you have guys coming in, and it's, like I said when we talked earlier, you look at some of their numbers coming in, and they have 5+ ERAs, but they're throwing 97. That just shows you how strong the SEC is. And when you got a dude throwing 97 and everything that I just saw, and obviously we didn't see him a lot, we looked at numbers and we looked at stats, but seeing it live, you're just like, how do you have a 5.5 ERA doing this? Well, obviously you have the number one strength of schedule in the country. So you're facing those guys. But I think it was just keeping off balance and just mixing things up and continually to bring guys in, and Peterson given a great start, and as Kevin O'Sullivan said in his interview, he's like, he was our hottest pitcher in the last 6 weeks. So that's the reason we went with him. And obviously it showed.
Joba Chamberlain's with us, Hall of Fame Husker, 2-time World Series champ. He's with you on the Triple Play podcast with Hurrdat Sports. Elijah Herbel, part of that as well.
And you.
Reaction to Nebraska falling today, 5-2 to Florida. You know, the takeaway is right on. Florida, better than their record. The SEC flexing, although Dave Van Horn and company had to sweat one out today against Southeast Missouri. A lot of former Husker flavor there. With that, 14-9, Arkansas survives. From an upset standpoint, Army nearly pulls it off against Georgia. The Dogs hang on 8-7. And A&M 8-0 over Grambling. Indiana, a winner today, 10-4. Impressive. And South Carolina edges by James Madison, 8-7. Job, I got about 90 seconds. You're welcome to hang for the next segment if you've got things to do. Wonderful. But we're going to have the second edition of the Hail Varsity Spelling Bee, and that is Elijah versus Clausborne.
Oh, that should be interesting.
No, it's great. I have my names. I'm one of the judges. You're welcome to be a second judge here. Or you can just tell us to go fly a kite and we're good.
I'm not great at spelling.
Okay. Joba, we'll check in again, brother. Appreciate you much.
Yeah, you guys got it.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
We got to do this more often. We got to make this an annual thing. Clausborne and the Hail Varsity Spelling Bee. Again, the belt is in the hands of Brandon Vogel. He retired a champion, but ready to compete for the new title is Elijah Herbel at Herbal Essence against Clausborne. Judges, you can chime in on the stream, but I've got a list of words to move forward with. As this is exciting. Of course, you had a little girl from Nebraska compete and I think finish third in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Elijah, are you limbered up? You good to go?
I've been ready.
Okay. And Claus is with us. He's imaginary. He wears red. Claus, how we doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. I looking for that guy that Luka Doncic is about to sue for calling him a whiner to remind him that libel laws don't apply if it's true. So that's what I've been working on today.
All right. So we'll just to let you know, Claus, Elijah won his 5th grade spelling bee at Maxey Elementary.
Yes, sir.
Well, I've been working quite hard on this myself. I believe I'm 1-0 in the Hail Varsity competition.
I think that's debatable.
And I've been going up.
Did you beat?
I read the whole dictionary when I was 12.
Did Vogue's? Okay, that's fine. I thought Vogue's beat you.
That's not how I remember it, and that's not how Kirk Herbstreit remembers it, as he sees me as the Bama of spelling bees. So, for once, let's take Kirk's word for it.
Let's get some music, and away we go. So, we'll start with you, Claus, since you're the air quote reigning champion. Spell felony for me.
Wait, sorry, that's felon. Felony. Felony.
That is correct. Okay, so 1 point for Claus. Elijah, Fumblerooski.
Oh, that's okay. Fumblerooski. Fumblerooski. Fumblerooski.
That is correct. 1 point for Elijah. Claus, it goes back to you.
Okay.
What's the word?
Spell gonorrhea.
Well, I'd have to look back at your college medical records to remember, but I think GHONORHEA.
No, it's incorrect.
CLAP.
Okay, I'm willing to give him a half point for that, Schmitty.
No, GON, no H. Until later.
Well, there should be. I was the German spelling.
Elijah, you're up. First name Wally, last name Zerbiak.
Wally Zerbiak. WALLY ZURB.
You're done.
Okay.
No, you screwed it up. No.
What is it? Who is that guy?
SZCZERBIAK.
Who is that?
Wally Zerbiak? Wally World?
Oh, yeah.
Miami of Ohio?
No, no chance.
All right.
He's on March Madness coverage now that I think about it. Yeah, I had no chance on that.
You each have a point. You each have a strike. Clausborne, you are up. Ndamukong Suh.
NDAMUKONGSUH.
That is correct. Claus is.
We would have also accepted BEAST.
Yes, beast. Okay, let us go to the next round. And your chance to tie, Elijah. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Ooh. Giannis Antetokounmpo. GIANNIS.
First part's correct.
ANTEKOUNMPO.
No.
Oh, I was close. I knew I was.
You were real close. ANTETOKOUNMPO.
So I screwed up that O. Dang.
Clausborne leads 2-1. Claus, your turn. Ben Roethlisberger.
BENROETHLISBERGER.
Yes, you got it.
I'm glad that's right, because my next guess was going to be JEFFMOTZ.
Clausborne leads 3-1. This is important.
It is.
For you, Elijah. Do we have time?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Mike Krzyzewski.
Come on now. Come on. Mike Krzyzewski. M-I-K-E. I know I got that.
Mm-hmm.
K-R-Z-Y-E. No, wait. K-R-Y-Z. Oh, good God. K-R-Y-Z.
You're going to be saved by the break.
No, I'm not, because K-R...
Claus, do you give him time for the next segment to try and get this?
Well, I would fear that he would Google it and realize he could have just said R-A-T.
I'm staring at him. I can tell if his fingers are typing. We'll wind down the spelling bee, Clausborne versus Elijah.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, it's the Hail Varsity Radio second spelling bee. Clausborne is up 3-1. Elijah had to pause because of the commercial break. And as we bring up some music here, we had to take a pause. There was no hand movement, phone usage, or surfing done by one Elijah Herbel. Do you believe me, Clausborne?
Well, since I'm not watching the stream, I'm going to have to take your word for it, but understand we may have to finish this under protest if I don't win.
The only word that Claus missed earlier was gonorrhea.
You're giving me the Eastern European names, you bastard.
Elijah missed Wally Zerbiak and Giannis. Finish it off here.
Okay,
Mike Krzyzewski.
I got Mike. I know Krzyzewski is spelled something like Krzyzewski. K-R-Y-Z-W-E W-S-K-I.
K-R-Z-Y-Z-E-W-S-K-I.
That's a loss.
That's a loss. For the win, Clausborne, are you ready?
I'm as ready as I was in Miami in 1984. Let's hope this goes better.
Okay.
Give him an Eastern European name, please.
Some of these words were submitted by email and listener. Claus for the win. Carl Pellini.
F-E-L-O-N. Wait. That's no. C-A-R-L-P-E-L-I-N-I.
And your 2024 Hail Varsity Spelling Bee champion is the imaginary man that wears red. It is Clausborne. Elijah, valiant effort. You had some tough names today.
Wally Zerbiak? Come on, man.
Listen, Elijah, it's never a good look when you start sounding like Rob Schneider's character from Big Daddy. So don't complain about the words. Just deliver us our spaghetti and meatballs.
I'll take the loss in stride. I'll use this to get back, be better next year.
Claus, any words from the championship podium?
Well, I'd like to thank God and my annual sports almanac first.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't have done it without my team. Clausborne is just one man. And so, all glory up high and party tonight in Christopher's basement.
Okay. Claus, you behave. We'll check in next week.
Okay.
There goes your spelling bee champion for Hail Varsity Radio, Claus. Elijah, it's all right. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning, 7:45 for the weekend edition with Hail Varsity YouTube.